Hey, Shalom. Start by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And Shalom to the elect. I was going to do a video on this article, okay, but I think even more telling than the article is the comments, okay. And I'll speak a little on the article, just to show you that, the prophecies and the prophets, ring true, okay, and what, starting with the elders on down, have been telling you, is coming to fruition. Now you see, a guy, right, a billionaire hedge fund manager, okay, somebody that has serious inside information, okay, he understands what's going on. He's basically blowing the same trumpet that we've been blowing, okay, and he's telling you that these devils are gonna come down with great wrath, okay. And let's listen to what this devil say. Paul Tudor Jones, okay. And the Tudors, if you know, is one of those royal families, so this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. Let's hear what he's saying. This is our fair use, if it'll play, Lord's will.
Chance that AI will kill 50% of humanity in the next 20 years. Agree or disagree? So, I say the vast majority of the room moved to the disagree side. I had just heard Joe Rogan and Elon Musk 2 months ago, where Elon Musk said, there's only a 20% chance that AI can annihilate humanity. Now I know why he wants to go to Mars.
Okay, so these devils, are coming to terms with it. Okay, and this is a story similar to what? The Terminator. Okay, and we saying it all the time. Terminator is a prophetic movie. Okay, and I said it. John Connor, would be Jesus Christ, so to speak. We know his name is Yahweh Shai. The woman, his mother is likened to Israel. Okay, that's just the story of Revelation, the 12th chapter, and I'll read it. Okay, just to get a couple of scriptures out of this. This is Revelation 12 and 12. Matter of fact, I'll start at 10. It say, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. Okay, and this devil Esau Edom is being cast down. Okay, and look what happens. And they overcome him by the blood of the Lamb. Okay, so this is a very important part of this ministry. Being covered by the blood. Okay, that's just like the scriptures say. Let me get it. Right, yep, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. It said, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Okay, and when you go into that word mark, okay, we know it to be thuah, okay.
Strong's H8420, Tav,
or thuah, okay, and it says a desire, a mark, okay, a sign of exemption from judgment, okay. And we know that when the Israelites were in Egypt, okay, they had to put the blood on the doorposts, okay, as a sign of a mark of exemption, okay, a sign that don't come by this door, the slayer wouldn't come by the door. So this is basically the same thing as the mark, okay, and this is why it says in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, it says they were overcome him by the blood of the Lamb, a mark of exemption, okay, and by the word of their testimony, okay. So this is how important having a true doctrine is. Okay? Because this is what's going to have you overcome. It says, and they love not their lives unto death. Okay? So whether, the Slayer hits us or not, this is all part of it. Okay? This is all part of it. Okay? We're going to have to be able to give up our lives for Yahweh Shai. Okay? Because we know Yahweh Shai was that Slayer, and eventually he had to give up his life as well. Okay? So this is all part of being able to receive, the kingdom. All right? But this is the point here. We're talking about the Terminator. Okay? And how this is just a example of Revelation, the 12th chapter, okay, and many other things, okay. Also, the judgment written in Second Ezra's, okay. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein." Dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. Okay, so this devil is implementing his AI because he understands that his time is running short. Okay, and he has to get rid of these people, right? And this is why I wanted to get into the comments. Okay, and this is what these devils are saying. This is from Magic Hand Puppet. And that's the spirit of magic. I was just talking about that the other day. It says, once the lizard people crash the market and ramp up their chemtrail operations to spray us down like cockroaches, they'll unleash their AI robots to finish off the rest of us stubborn bastards off. Okay? So, hey, this devil understands. Okay? And this was the one that I wanted to read. Right? Okay, it says the wrong half, the smarter, most productive will be first to go because they pose the greatest threat. So the elders are talking about that scientific racism. Okay, so the smarter ones is what he's saying, realize what's going on. Okay? The smarter of the middle class is what he's saying. Okay? And they know that the elite are going to want to get rid of them first. Okay? Because those are the ones that have stockpiled weaponry. Okay? They understand, how different electrical systems work. They could, jerry rigs electrical systems. Okay? They can help other people survive, because they have, understanding of, electronics and, motors and shit like that. Jake doesn't have that type of understanding. Okay? And Esau knows it. Okay? So they're going to be trying to wipe out these middle class Edomites. Okay? And we saw that, through this medical emergency. Okay? The Squid Game that was being played. Hey, that was targeted also to the Edomites because they're trying to do away with them. Okay, and these other Edomites are starting to realize it, right? Because listen to this comment. He said the smartest are the hardest to control. It says, and they will use AI to obliterate the middle class. Another guy say no neither has already done. Okay, but this devil right here is wise. Look, he says sorry, but not even close. It says, you think all those big houses equal upper class? Drive through any suburb in almost any major metro area and you will see row after row of solidly middle class millionaires. Okay, he said they want two classes, master and servant, and they will not stop till they get it. Also, they don't need more than 1 billion servants, so buckle up. It's gonna get bumpy. Okay, so what does that put you in the mind? Okay, let's get this. This is the book of Mark, chapter 3 and 26. I start at 23, and it says, and he called unto them and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Matter of fact, let's get this in another translation. Let me see. Let's see. Let me see if I could change this real quick. Bear with me. Let's put this in the amplified. Just to change it up a little, because we read these scriptures a lot. Alright, so we'll change it up a here and see what it say. Okay. So this is in the amplified. It says, so he called them to himself and spoke to them in parables. How can Satan drive out Satan? Okay, and this is what this guy was talking about. Okay, these people are prepared to destroy their own people. So Satan is driving out Satan. It says, if a kingdom is divided, split into factions and rebelling. All right, and we have, the Democrats and the Republicans, but more importantly, okay, you have the upper class and the middle class. Okay, you also have the lower class, but they aren't the focus right now. Okay, the focus is the middle class against the upper class. Okay, because the upper class understands that the middle class knows all about the day-to-day operations. Okay, so they're being, thrust away. Okay, because the AI is taking over all these positions. Okay, the AI is taking over the management positions. Okay, the AI is taking over the books. Okay, what would be really a white collar job? Because white collar jobs are just middle class. Okay, but these jobs, the programming and things of that nature, are being taken over by the AI. Okay, and this is killing them. Okay, we know that in Revelation it say they'll kill those who wouldn't take the image or the mark. Okay, which means cutting them off from the whole. Okay, or separating them from society. Okay, basically no need for them. Okay, destroying their way of life. And basically hunting them down. With these robots that they have positioned. Okay, so these factions are rebelling, and you also saw that in the Terminator. Okay, you saw that in different movies as well. What was it? Demolition Man. Okay, it always ends up splitting into factions. Hunger Games. Okay, because this is what's going to happen, and these people are going to be divided against each other, and ultimately it's going to go into Second Ezra's. Okay, so it says, if a kingdom is divided, split into factions, and rebelling against itself, that kingdom shall not stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but is coming to an end. Okay? So this is the point of it all. We're at the end of this. Okay? And these devils, in these comment sections, okay, which is what? The tongue falling over themselves. Okay, have all but admitted it. Okay, and you have these other devils in here, preparing it. All right, because these elite really want war. Okay, they want a reason to unleash these things and speed up, this great reset. Okay, they want, they looking for a reason. Okay, the elite is like Debo. Okay, he looking for a chain and snatch. He looking for a reason. Okay, and it ain't gonna take much. Another comment, it says they are just one lab leak away from wiping out a good portion of humanity. Okay, because this is what the CDC, the Center for Creation for Disease Creation. Okay, this is what these people do, man. Okay, and they've been accomplice to it. All right, but now it's gonna come back to bite him. Okay. Let me get this. This is the book of Proverbs. Again in the Amplified, Proverbs 26 and 27. Whoever digs a pit for another man's feet will fall into it. Okay, and Esau, these middle class had no problem doing this to Jake. Right? He had no problem digging a pit. Right? That word pit.
Strong's H 7845. Shachath. Shachath.
Okay, and it says a destruction or a grave. Okay, so they had no problem, putting these things together, to destroy Jake. Okay, or put Jake in the grave. Okay, not thinking that these elitists would do them the same way. Okay, they figured, if they all got the white skin, or they all are under this covenant, okay, this conspiracy, that they would be safe from it. Okay, but that's just not the case. That's just not how the Lord works. Okay, and that's a lack of understanding on their part. Okay, but the scripture clearly reads, whoever digs a pit for another man's feet will fall into it. Okay, it says, and a man who rolls a stone up a hill to do mischief, it will come back on him. Okay, and this is what these devils are learning the hard way. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is bringing, judgment upon them. Okay, basically, the curses are falling upon him. Okay, so you might want to get in here and read these comments. Okay, because and though we've been seeing Jake and Esau getting against each other, hey, these devils are going against each other too, man. Okay, and all out pandemonium is gonna ensue. Okay, and this serpent is gonna come down with great wrath, on the true target. Okay, which are the men and women of the Lord. Okay, and the Lord is gonna plunge this thing into chaos, man. All right, so this is why we should be rejoicing. Okay, because the kingdom of heaven starts within us. Okay, so we should be rejoicing that the Lord is bringing judgment and having faith that he will protect us in these times. Okay, so stay prayed up, stay with oil in your lamp, keep studying. Okay, stay praying, keep the faith, and continue in the works. Okay, and don't waver in this time. Okay, because we getting right there. And I've been getting chastened lately. Okay, and it's all for good, man. Okay, all the chastening that we get, man, is just to strengthen us for these times. Okay, so Lord's will, brothers and sisters, have gone through what they supposed to go through and are battle tested. Okay, and are prepared and have the faith that's going to be required in this time. All right, hey, Lord's will, you was edified. I'll end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to the elect.